Good evening, Inspirational Souls, and welcome to Inspirational Souls Live, episode number 7. Super excited tonight to be talking to Brenden Fitzgerald. He's a veganpreneur and founder and CEO of a new company, Planet Protein, a new innovative vegan company producing a complete line of protein products to help consumers transition to a healthier lifestyle. He says convenience and education is his way of life. He's also a veteran. Thank you for your service, Brenden. He served over 5 years in the United States Marine Corps as a squad leader. He said this has helped him progress in life by providing important leadership qualities that he would have never learned in school. And he said he tried to attend community college once, but dropped out and taught himself research and resourcefulness has always been his passion. Welcome to the show tonight, Brenden. I'm glad to have you on, man.
Are we live?
We are live, man.
Sorry, I'm stuffing my face with the luxury of my own protein bar because I just hit the gym and it's doing the trick for me. How you doing, man? Long time no see.
Yeah,
long time no see, long time no talk.
That's awesome. We have automatic product placement, man. From our sponsor, right?
Yeah, right. So how's everything your way? Everything's good and
yeah, everything's good, man. I'm sure it was raining here today. You know, it's rainy season, and I'm sure it's probably sunny in Florida where you're at, right? Are you in Florida right now? Or are you?
Yeah, so I'm in Fort Myers, Florida currently. Today it was about 85 wow. And sunny. Yeah.
Yeah, so I miss that, man.
It's really it's not slowing down the heat. I'm hoping by next month we'll get down to 70s, and that'd be nice. But
you might get a winter, huh?
I personally can't complain and say shit because I'm from Michigan and it's probably about 30 degrees, 25, 30 degrees there right now. So,
wow.
Yeah, I've got the luxury of staying warm all year.
Yeah. So with that, tell us a little bit about, we're going to talk about a few things tonight. We're going to talk about your entrepreneurship, a little bit about being a veteran, about veganism, how it's wrapped into a lot of this. But kind of tell us about your journey, where you're born and kind of how you got to where you are today. And we'll go from there.
Sure. I guess a little bit about myself. Like I said, I'm from Michigan. I'm from Flint, Michigan. I didn't move out of there until about 5 years ago. So I've been in Florida for almost 5 years now. But growing up, I played sports and did kid things and played tag and had fun. Right out of high school, I joined the Marine Corps. And I was in the infantry for about 5 years. And the funny thing about that is I really didn't know anything about it other than, hey, I need to do something with my life. And this might be that gateway. So it's funny, as I was in high school, junior year, the recruiter would always bug me at the lunch table, hey, join the Marines. And I'm like, dude, don't talk to me anymore. We're done. And funny enough, a year later, that summer after I graduated, I called him and said, hey, man, I want to join the Marine Corps. And he's like, really? So, that's how it kind of started. I remember strictly going to his office and say, hey, man, I want to be a Marine. He said, well, what job do you want? I said, I want to be a Marine. He's like, well, there's jobs. And I really didn't know anything about it, So I joined the infantry, and world kind of changed from there. I thought I had a pretty tough upbringing. My dad's always been pretty hard on me, and in a good way. He kind of shaped who I am. But the Marines, it's really a whole nother level of respect, and it's pretty cool to go through that and come out a different person. So, after that, let me jump back a little bit. What stemmed that was my senior year. I was a soccer player my whole life. And actually, I was academically ineligible my senior year of high school. So I didn't find out until the last tryout in the summer training. Last tryout day, I didn't find out. The coach comes up, hey, you're ineligible. I said, coach, what? And it was crazy, but they go by your last marking period. Well, they did back then. I'm speaking like I'm 50, but in 2008, they went by marking period, and I had a 1.73. Overall GPA was about a 3.1, but that marking period, I wasn't focused in school. It was everywhere else. Joined the Marines. after that I got out, I spent some time in different industries, kind of just lost, I sold insurance for, about 3 years. Worked with my dad. He does siding and windows. I kind of did, a couple different jobs here and there, dabbled. So it was kind of unclear as what I wanted to do. I was an entrepreneur at heart, but my mind was so fogged. I really didn't know where to go, where to start. There's a lot of questions, a lot of questioning myself before anything. So I was kind of stuck for a while, man, to be honest. I mean, it was hard to come out of that. And then I watched a couple vegan documentaries, Vegucated, Cowspiracy. Next morning I went vegan, and this was April of last year. It was crazy. I mean, I was eating rice and beans for probably, no shit, 4 weeks straight. Just because I'm like, oh, vegan food, what do I do? What do I do? But
Yeah.
it's a lot easier than, as you know now, than everybody thinks at the time. So after, I think 5 days after I went vegan, I created the company Planet Protein. And that was my first serious entrepreneurial venture. Because before that I took a stab at cruelty-free makeup company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I saw
was that once you turned vegan, you
that was even before. That was a couple years before.
Okay.
And that was strictly because I saw the opportunity. I saw where the movement was going in that industry. I wanted to jump on board. Makeup, come on. So I quit that really quick. And then, like I said, I went vegan, and then Planet Protein, it hit me. I was eating protein bars every day, and not really seeing the results, not really feeling the results, more importantly. And then after that, I'm like, why don't I create one, or at least try to create one that's healthier, more filling, maybe a better price point per gram. So then we started, thinking, and it hit me one night in my kitchen. Planet Protein it is. And it was crazy that the name wasn't taken. I was really thrown off. I was like, wow, I'm really surprised right now that nobody has this. So I kind of ran with it, man, and now we're here. So anything you have for me, just kind of shoot my way, because I'm ready to talk your ear off.
Yeah. So kind of going back really quick. There was a process to kind of find yourself, but I just want to ask, you decided on the military, but growing up, what did you want to be? Interested in if you had passions, or if there was anything you desired to be, soccer player or.
Pro athlete would have been fun. It would have been fun. I mean, come on. But I really wanted to be a police detective. I wanted to be narcotics, undercover detective, and really get in the shit. And that was something I was really interested in. And kind of talking about it brings back all these memories of man, why didn't I do that? So who knows? Maybe I'll do it one day. Who knows? But something like that would be really cool, just to kind of go underground and see where the mass drug addictions are, and because that's what's really killing a lot of people out there, is on the streets and even the wealthy. I mean,
yeah,
it's really killing everybody. So that would have been cool, but we'll see. It didn't happen as of now, but I've got a long ways to go. It's funny, I was just talking to Carly, my girlfriend, as you know, about this the other day. I said, man, because I turned 27 Monday.
Happy birthday, man.
Thank you. And I said, man, I have about 70, 75 good vegan years left in me, and that's a long time.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what we think. I mean, we see how quickly things are changing. I mean, we might have 300 years left in us. I've been reading some interesting articles about all that stuff. So
yes.
It's funny that.
No, I totally agree. I mean, the cleaner we eat, the more advanced we're getting as a whole. Anything's possible at this point. And I'm just trying to just eat as clean as possible, be healthy, and just live, man. Like live
Yeah.
every day, live in the moment, you know?
So I, kind of going back to the military days, I think it's important because I think that that's something that, what are some tips for your veteran brothers that are, kind of either wandering around lost, don't know what to do?
Mm.
Possibly, you said that you had some skills that you learned that applied now to your entrepreneurial, life. Maybe some tips you can throw out not only to veterans but to people out there that are kind of wandering around like that. How did they? How did you put two and two together? Like I learned this, and this fit well here. It's
This is solely veteran related. Like
well, you can start
what
with things that you learned in the military that transferred over for possibly any veterans that are watching. But those skills, just I think it's like the military is like corporate America too. So
Yes.
just by talking about those skills, people might be like, hey, you know what? That's kind of similar to what I'm doing over here.
Yeah, I would say a couple of the biggest ones were, first of all, leadership. I mean, my leadership qualities, it's through the roof because of that. I was put into a leadership role as a squad leader early on, so at a lower rank, and that really helped mature me as a person really quickly. There's so much adversity you have to face, and some of the situations are just unbearable, like physically, mentally, and you really just have to stick with it and have that confidence in yourself. So that's one thing they really teach you is like have utmost confidence within yourself, and then bring that to the front line, or bring that to the corporate America, or bring that to the business that you're going to start. So I really took away the leadership. I would say most importantly.
You probably had to develop a thick skin though too.
Well, I was already a pretty tough dude. And that was probably mostly because of my dad. He was a wrestler, baseball player, captain of the football team. Growing up, tough guy, outside all the time. He shakes my hand. It's like fingers start cracking and crushing. But that really helped me get through the adverse situations within the Marine Corps. So it only just added on and made me tougher. My mental, I mean, it gave me the mental capabilities of like, hey, I will never lose, and it just really made me push myself to the fullest potential that I've ever experienced in my life. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that I did this, because without that, I would not be sitting here talking to you today. There's no way.
That's awesome. And so it's kind of funny you talk about, being tough and kind of growing up like that way. What was it that got you when you were watching those videos, then all of a sudden next day Brendan's waking up a vegan? Because I was there too with Earthlings, but I'm kind of interested in your experience of when did that switch flip?
Like the masculinity switch. It's like, you can't be a man and eat plants. And it was crazy. I'm kind of off topic a little bit, but growing up, I really didn't know what vegan was. I didn't know what vegetarian, like I knew what vegetarian was, but I didn't pay enough attention to even care. So it's funny. I watched Vegucated, and like I said, the next day I was vegan, and man, the way that they treated the chickens, and like I said, I watched Cowspiracy that same night. So the way they treated the cows, I was just blown away. And there was a part of me that's like, hey, this isn't right. Ethically, this is not right. Put the health aside, put the environment aside. This ethically is just not right. This is sick. So I think it hit me the most there is like just seeing the visuals of what really goes on in factory farming and animal agriculture. It just was really upsetting. And it kind of just like made me put away all the masculinity I thought I had. Like, oh, I was a burger boy. Every restaurant you went to, you take me to a 5-star steakhouse, and it's like, order a burger. So yeah, those documentaries really changed me big time.
I have a question for you, because I know that, and I love seeing the journey you're on now, and I'm seeing that you're kind of on, and I'm just going to use kind of a new agey word, like a, enlightened or a spiritual,
Yeah.
change. But did you have, was there any conflict? Did you go through any type of kind of, I guess, psychological conflict, thinking about like, oh, I was in the military, and this is what the military, this is what we're there to protect. Protection sometimes means, we're there to harm others, in the name, was there any conflict with any of that coming out the other side?
Yeah, because I definitely have a different viewpoint on the military now than I did when I was in.
Sure.
I have utmost respect for like all my brothers and all the guys that serve right beside me, because without people like that, I mean, you just, hey Carly, how are you?
Hey.
Without people like that on your side, I mean, where do you go? And that's in business, that's in family, that's in friendships, that's in the military, that's in team sports. So I would never like forget that part of it. But I guess what are you asking specifically?
I was just asking, how did you, like, when you were making that transition, did you think back on that? Because sometimes we ruminate on like the way we were as we are changing.
Yeah, because I mean, while I was in the Marine Corps, it was like because I was raised Catholic.
Yeah.
And I really don't, frankly, I don't believe in any of that, what I was raised in. And that's just how I am today. In the Marine Corps, I was borderline, I guess. It was like I was hoping there was something to believe in to get me through this situation. Now it's like I believe in a higher energy. I'm really spiritual, and I believe that the universe's energies like are all there in everyone and present in everyone, and the way you vibrate that back is what you get in. So it's kind of like different mindset now. It's funny. I was literally just at the gym a couple hours ago talking to a friend of mine about the same subject, because he's like, what do you believe in? And I'm like, dude, I really can't sit here and say that I believe in a higher being. But I just know there's something out there that's like higher. And if you radiate these certain positive vibes, eat the right foods that will allow you to do that, then, you're going to put some good stuff out there, and then there's going to be some good stuff that comes back. And don't get me wrong, I put out good vibes every day, but there's something bad that might happen.
You mean you're not levitating everywhere you go?
No, not walking on water yet. None of that. So, no,
I appreciate it though. I know through Facebook, I appreciate you. You've been, just even from the short amount of time I've known you, you've had this switch, and your wisdom, you've garnered this wisdom, and at a young age. I mean, at 27, mm-hmm. That's a young age, still, and that's great, man. And yeah. You're right. Like what you put out there, you get back. So, a question I think I asked you when we were talking, I think on the phone a while back, about your company was talk a little bit about, how somebody starts a company. You said you had this idea. Just talk about the intricacies of, being an entrepreneur. Because I thought one of the things I kind of tripped out on a little bit was like, you decide you want to make a protein bar. How the heck does one go about making like a food product?
Yeah, right, right. And it's like, along the way, one problem that I have is that I'm really hard to satisfy, and I'm a self-pleaser. So if I accomplish something, I'm always looking for like that next step, that next edge. What do I have to do next? Instead of like sitting back and like, oh shit, I built the protein company, or oh shit, like you have a whole team. And, you know, I forget to kind of reward myself sometimes emotionally. So I'm glad you asked that. But, you know, I just went and did. And I know you're a big Gary Vee fan, and I am as well. He always preaches, you know, just do the work, do. And he's 100% right. If you don't jump in and just start doing something and researching and utilizing, you know, it's 2017. I mean, my phone's right here, but it's all right here. You know what I mean? So I set out on a mission, and I started researching different nutritionists, different manufacturing facilities, and I had my eyes set on, you know, the certain texture, the certain taste profile, macronutrient profile. As soon as I kind of knew like what we wanted, I could go to a nutritionist and say, hey, this is what we want to shoot for. Let's go back and forth. Let's work side by side. That's how it kind of started. Took a few months, and then we nailed down the blend. And, you know, after about a year and a half of marketing, we launched officially on August 15th. So from start to finish, I mean, from start to start, I like to call it, because like you start inception of the idea in the company, but then when you go to launch, that's the new start, the new beginning, you know. And then when we make another product here, we're launching another product hopefully January. It's like start again.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
it's like life, man. It's like that, you know, that there's no end. It's all a journey, right? You know,
and that's I'm glad that's the best part.
Yeah.
That's the absolute best part.
I love so to kind of recap, you know, I love what you just said. Kind of give me goosebumps, because you kind of went from, I mean, you tried your hand at possibly at like thinking about like, oh, I'm going to do makeup, you know, cosmetics, and you know, you're kind of like, well, you know, I'm just not vibing on that, or that's just not where my passion is. You found something that was your passion, but it was your passion, but you really didn't know anything about it. And I think the beautiful thing is that what you just hit on was the fact that we have everything at our fingertips. There's so much information. We have to wade through a lot of that information, which is, you know, which is a process. But, you know, we have to, you know, you have all the opportunity there. We lost him, but I'm going to talk. You have all the opportunity at your fingertips to go from zero, as Brenden did, to starting a company. And it's pretty amazing. So we're going to give Brenden just a second to get back on. I know he is. Did I
lose you?
I was just kind of finishing up talking about the fact that, you know, you can go from zero to where you're at, and start a company from scratch. So,
and that's the thing. Like, people will ask me, "Hey, how'd you start a protein company?" Or how do I form an LLC, you know, or how do I file the right paperwork or trademark? And I just tell people, hey, like I will be here to help you answer any questions that you have. But ultimately, you have it right there, and you're holding on to it right now, talking to me on the phone. Like, just use that. You know, we are so blessed to have this great of technology, this era. I mean, there's just no excuses anymore for people. You know, there used to be excuses like, oh, the mail center's closed, or the fax machine is down.
Yeah.
Or the telephone line is out because there's a storm outside. I mean, there's no excuses anymore for people. So basically, yeah, you got to go. You got to just dive in, and you got to do.
And so, what are some of the rough spots you've hit in forming the company?
Oh man,
some of the things that you can give a quick, this happened. Here's what worked for me. Maybe the two top things that you felt were your biggest roadblocks so far.
I would say, oh man, we changed the logo about 3 times. Let's see, we went through a few graphic designers. That was a pain. And not because they weren't, there wasn't quality work. It was more of they had too much on their plate. So it was a commitment thing. Freelancing is a tough gig, and it's hard to get a hold of people. So I think that was one of our roadblocks. I did want to start initially with compostable package, 100% compostable packaging. And that didn't happen, obviously, just because of like manufacturing and their capabilities. And when you start from nothing, it's hard to get to where you want immediately. And that kind of goes through business life. I mean, sports, family, anything.
Yeah.
So that was probably the biggest thing. Like in the beginning, probably a year and a half ago, I'm like, oh, compostable packaging, compostable packaging. You know, my eyes are set on it. I would get hurt. It would hurt me if that didn't work out. Now it's like, well, shit, that's just one wall. But you get past it. 3 months later, generate some revenue. Year later, now we start looking at different facilities. Now we can do compostable packaging. So it's like, if there's one roadblock, you just gotta find a way like over it, around it, shit, smack through it, doesn't matter. But you know, there's always something that's gonna pop up, and that's what I've been learning to deal with and cope with the best. And I think that goes back to like your diet. You know, the cleaner you eat, it's so much easier to cope with those things now, rather than where your brain's kind of fogged and you're like hitting yourself on the head with a hammer, you know, and now it's just like, let's start levitating a little bit.
So with that, you know, you mentioned compostable packaging, and I'm a huge fan of environmentalism. I've got green teams going at the corporate job that I work at. I love talking about this stuff. Your Instagram handle is, for your personal page, is the Sustainable CEO. It sounds like that's a moniker that you've internalized. And what does that mean to you right now for your company? Kind of the vision, and possibly what does that mean going forward for you?
Okay, so the Sustainable CEO is something that I couldn't imagine ever calling myself before. I really barely even knew what the word sustainable meant. But now it's all about honestly just making the conscious effort and decisions each day to like understand that, hey, do I need this bag, you know, this plastic bag to carry 3 items out of the store? Or do I need this to wrap this donut in this extra, you know, wrapper, like instead of just grabbing with your hand? I mean, or do I need to waste, you know, this plastic utensil? There's just so much waste building up in the oceans and in the environment. I mean, obviously you drive down the expressway and you see trash everywhere. I mean, there's laziness factors. But then there's like mass production factors that just aren't necessary. So now it's about being conscious and just carrying, you know, reusable utensils, taking a mug to wherever you're going for coffee and using your own mug, you know, and buying reusable bags, take them to the grocery store. So it's an everyday thing for me personally. For the company moving forward, it's more of, hey, let's get into compostable packaging eventually. We partnered with 1% for the Planet, which is a nonprofit organization who helped us pair up with One Tree Planted. And what we're going to do is we're going to take 1% of our revenue this first year, and then we're going to fly out to Indonesia next year and start planting some trees.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that'll help with the environment. You know, palm oil is one thing that we're combating. So it's all about just educating. And I don't know everything. I mean, you don't know everything. There's people that watching, they don't know everything.
Yeah.
So the more I learn, the more we all learn and evolve together. It's just, like I said, just making those efforts each day. So that's what that's about.
That's awesome. So give me a little plug about your bars. Tell people, you know, about the product that you've created. You can show some, or, you know, I've had them. They're amazing.
This is the cherry almond fudge,
which is excellent.
Yeah, and then this is my half-eaten peanut butter cup. And man, like I said, I say half-eaten, and I feel good. You know, sustainable energy right here. So that goes along with the tag as well. But so each bar is 20 grams of protein, and we use a pea-based protein. 10 grams of prebiotic fiber, so and also about 21 net carbs. So what we've done is we've made a complete protein bar that is more of like a nutrition bar that you can pick up. Hey, you're on the road, you're busy, pick it up, fill yourself up. It's super dense, but that's not the only thing we're doing. So I do want to remember, ourselves as like a protein bar company, but we're working on more products to diversify our selection. We're working on a protein powder currently that should be out soon. And we have a few other ideas in mind, just to kind of expand and go up from there. But that's where we're at right now. Planetprotein.com is where you can find us. You can order there on our site. We're actually working on moving over to Amazon soon, which will help because, as you know, you pick up your iPhone and there's your Amazon app, and one click later, 48 hours and there's a package. So that's kind of what we're facing right now.
That's awesome, man. So, what is like the 5-year plan for you right now?
I don't have one, and I never will.
Awesome.
I just don't believe in 5-year plans because what could happen tomorrow?
Yeah.
Realistically, I could walk outside and as crazy as it sounds, like an asteroid could just hit me. I mean, realistically, a car could or something like that, but we just don't know what tomorrow brings. So I'm not going to sit here and kind of stress about what's 5 years. Now, I have ideas, I have thoughts, I have aspirations, but I don't really have a plan for 5 years. I have a plan for tonight, which is when we end this call. I'm going to take a shower and go for bed and maybe brush up on some knowledge and go to sleep. And then tomorrow it's like, hey, we have to take care of, this email and this campaign and these sales. And those are my plans, and then I have like weekly plans and weekly goals and monthly goals and aspirations. But I don't sit here and like dwell on them and say, if I don't make this goal, what's going to happen? Because then you get a negative mindset and you put yourself in that mindset. And if you don't like reach certain goals that you set for yourself, you start to think like, man, maybe I can't do this. So then I just sit here with what I do is I sit here with a different mindset, like, well, let's manifest whatever we want and make it happen. So for me to sit here and say a 5-year plan, I don't have one. An animal sanctuary is in my future somewhere. Planet Protein's kind of a vehicle, a gateway to get me there, build some financial growth and stability in my life, and then kind of branch out and do some more things to give back and educate.
That's awesome. So a couple of questions would be, being a CEO, you're always on the go. We had issues, trying to connect. What are you doing?
That's my fault.
Well, no, it's all good, man. You're a busy man. What are you doing to preserve yourself, to get yourself to that? You kind of have a live in the now. It sounds like you have a very kind of moving towards a live in, like you're trying to live as much like right now as possible. What do you do to de-stress? Do you have any tips around, putting the phone down, or, do you have a beginning and end to your day, or tell us a little bit about that? Because people are always interested in that. Like some people, I think, we listen to the Gary thing, and he's like, he has his way, but I want to hear what your way is, because that might resonate with people too,
Yeah, and if I was on my phone for 16 hours a day, I mean, I would probably already have arthritis. I don't know how he's doing it. But there's a reality that sets in my life, and it's like you said, living in the now, staying present and just kind of like appreciating all of the things around you. So what I'll do is I'll catch myself driving and I'll stare at the trees for a second. I'll see the sky. I'll pick apart the clouds. So it's just kind of being aware of your surroundings and where you're at. For me, putting down my phone for an hour at a time, 2 hours at a time to do yoga, meditate, maybe take a shower and kind of think there. That's really important for me, to just kind of stay away, because I am on my phone often, and that's emails and social media and texting and calls. So for me to kind of put that away, And I do that with Carly too sometimes. Is we have our every morning we have our breakfast thing, and she'll make me a nice big acai bowl. It's probably about 1,500 calories. So that's another conversation. Where do you get your protein? How do you build muscle? We can get into that, but during that time, it's like, put your phone away. I mean, there's just no need for it, you know. And a lot of people that I'm communicating with start their day with Instagram. Like literally, they'll open their phone, and that's the first app they open. And I've been guilty of it before, like no doubt. But to like recognize that and be conscious of that, and now we go right to acai bowls, talking to each other. Hey, what are you doing today? You know, blah, blah, blah. What did you dream about last night? And that kind of, and then you can kind of pick up from there. You know,
that sounds old school, man.
Yeah. Yeah. and same with marketing. You know, we have a lot of guys behind us that are old school, and they're like, oh, I used to hit the pavement door to door. You millennials now. I'm like, hey, I do it both ways, you know? So I like to keep the old school approach in the back of my head.
Awesome. That's a good transition, because you said, you know, you kind of brought up a couple of things, myths around veganism, and it's a good transition. It's, you know, you talked about sanctuary, and I think I had asked you even at one point if you were doing any type of, I'll call it animal activism. Some, like right now we have this weird thing going on, and with a lot of, you know, words being used synonymously. What does veganism mean to you? You know, if somebody was like, why are you vegan? What does veganism mean to Brenden? What would you tell them?
Really what veganism means to me is it's more of like an educational word. Use it to educate. So bring it up, use it to educate. Vegan and veganism kind of mean a different thing to me. So when people say you're vegan, yeah, you know, I'm living this lifestyle, I'm eating plant-based, and I'm aware of the environmental factors and the animal cruelty. But when they say veganism, it's like that's a whole movement, you know, an educational piece. So to me, it's like I said, it's going out there. Okay, let me slow down. A year ago, I really wouldn't be involved with too much animal activism, you know. Now, I don't mind showing up to a protest, holding a sign, or going to a pig vigil at 4 a.m. It doesn't matter. I mean, because my heart is there, my passion is there. So using veganism to kind of educate the masses is what it means to me. You know, it's everybody has the role in it, though. Like, not everybody can be an animal activist. And not everybody can be, you know, an entrepreneur and start a sustainable company. Not everybody can be, you know, so you each have your own role. And of course you can branch into different things. But I'm not going to be the guy, you know, at the protest shouting and getting on the megaphone. I'm going to be at the guy at the protest just staring at people with a sign like, hey, this shit's going on. And
yeah,
you need to go watch a documentary, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just educating.
And so, you know, I noticed that you are, you know, you're out and about and into, you know, vegan fairs and festivals and things like that. What, you know, you're obviously the protein bar is kind of linked to fitness, even though it can be used for any number of things. I mean, we use certain bars for our daughter for school or things like that. Yeah. You know, what do you think is, like some of the myths that you come upon that, you know, I'm going to give you the platform to possibly debunk, especially, you know, because I know that with your bar, you know, protein is one of the things that is highlighted, you know. Sure. So how does one get protein from a plant, when there's always the conversation when you move to veganism that there's going to be a lack of it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's a few things. One of them is the protein myth. And honestly, I've probably consumed more protein on a plant-based diet than I have before, you know, as a carnivore. And that's because there's such a variety of different foods. And the first thing that I tell people is, okay, what is your cow, you know, what is your cow eating to get his protein? and they're like, they kind of look at me, and it makes you think, it makes somebody think that's never heard that before. Like, where does he get his protein? Does it just automatically appear? No, he's eating it. He's consuming it. So I tell people, hey, you're consuming recycled nutrients through an animal that was, pumped with hormones or testosterone or, so on and so forth. That's one of them. I mean, the biggest one that I get though is the soy. There's a lot of people come to me and say, hey, you consume soy. Like, what about the estrogen and you're going to grow boobs? And, the first thing I like to say, and it's kind of a smart ass comment, is you just had soy sauce last night, didn't you? And you're like, that's Chinese, that's soy sauce. That makes sense. Yeah. And it's, like I said, it's educational, and it's fun to kind of debunk those myths. Some people are open and it takes longer than others. Some people just really don't want to hear it. And I think I was in a place, a year ago, 2 years ago, or, about a year and a half ago, where I wasn't okay with people just ignoring the facts. Yeah. I wasn't okay with people just kind of brushing it to the side and not really listening. Now it's like, dude, if you don't want to hear me, you don't want to, that's fine. I'll just show you what I'm doing, Yeah. And if you want to join, you want to jump ship and come over here and swim to the side, sure. I mean, we'll pull you in, we'll dry you, we'll clothe you, and you'll be on your way. So that's kind of how I look at it now. But
that's a cool shift. That's a tough shift, because our egos want to get in the way, and we hear about the pretentious or loud or whatever vegan, and it's tough to like want to just be like, I'm gonna let them. I'm just they have their journey, I have my journey. You know what I'm saying? But like living by example is awesome, man. I love that. And you do. You live a great example of a happy, healthy vegan. So
yeah, and it's not all happy, and most of it's healthy. But I'm still a person, and I still have emotions and feelings, and there's triumphs and lessons that I learn in each day. But eating this clean and living this lifestyle just makes it that much easier to thrive. And that's what I've been really stressing to people is like, dude, I still face adversity. There's still shit that goes wrong. Like I got hit by a car a couple weeks ago, and there's still stuff that pops up. This isn't just like a fairyland and you go vegan and all of a sudden you're Peter Pan. But you go vegan and all of a sudden you start looking at things differently. And it's like the attitude, the positive outlook. That's what's going to make change within you, which will implement in your life. So, that's kind of where I am.
So really quick, you gave a speech at a festival about a week ago. What did you talk about? Because I know you were really jazzed about that.
Yeah. We were at Palm Beach Veg Fest, so that was their inaugural season. It was their first one. I think they have another one in January, but there was their first one this year, and it was awesome, man. The turnout was great, so that was really cool to see. But I had a good time. I was just on stage, and I talked a little bit about my story, my transition, a little bit about the business. But I think I talked more about the trials and the triumphs that I faced, in the transition. And that's, family, friends, how I've kind of lost relationships in that world. Your mindset, bettering that, putting out what you put out is what you're going to get in, so I kind of preach some of the same things here that we were talking about. And I think it helped some people with especially with the family. That was a big one. A lot of reaction in that one, but it's true. I mean, your family, they're going to support you, which they do. They support me. But do they really support me? You know what I mean? And that's like diving into the education. You see that I'm making all these changes in my life and where I've come from, sorry. And are they really supporting? You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's, and I think a lot of people can really resemble that. And hopefully we can shed some light on that one and just let people, hey, you're going to be on your own in life, and And if you can't do things on your own, then yeah, it's going to be hard for you. So you have to go through some adversity to find the light, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That's great wisdom. And one of the things I forgot to ask you kind of about the company is, right now we're talking kind of like we're like the pariahs. Like, sometimes it's like veganism is like this, we're this pariah for, whatever. I'm just using that as like a kind of a stretch of an example. But, we're seeing more and more, people are, I had a buddy text me today that I've done volunteering with overseas. And he's like, hey, my wife and I are moving more to a vegetarian vegan lifestyle. And he's like, for health reasons. And there's a lot of different reasons. One thing I wanted to ask you really quick about your company is, how do you keep yourself, and kind of talk a little bit about what you do to keep yourself kind of ahead of the competition, or is there a competition the way you look at business?
I don't really look at competition. And that's funny because early on when we were going after investors, that was the first question I received is, the space is pretty crowded. How do you see competition? I said, what competition? And that wasn't coming from a conceited standpoint. That was coming from an optimistic standpoint, but also a real one, because most of these products are using palm oil. Most of them are using in some form, vegetable oil, if it's hidden, whatever, it's palm oil. And that's destroying our planet. So that was one of our selling points is, hey, we're palm oil free across the board. Of course, we're vegan, gluten-free, non-GMO. You use organic ingredients and superfoods, and so do a lot of other companies. But palm oil we don't use it. So that was one of the edges for, on our side of things. Also, people want variety, man. Like, I'll go into the store. I have the consumer hat on whenever I'm thinking business. Like, I'm a consumer. I'm a consumer. I go out and I buy different kombucha all the time, or I go out and buy, even different protein bars just because I want to try something new. So I think if people, hey, this is a new product out there, let's try it. Then they like it. They find out, hey, it's more filling than the other one. It's more dense. The macronutrients are better. The taste profile isn't sweet, burning my throat type feel. So that's all the other stuff comes into play, So I just think of like, hey, if there's 5 options and this one looks appealing today, or it doesn't, it might look appealing, Friday when I go into Whole Foods again. So that's just kind of how I look at it.
That's great, man. Well, I mean, one of the things that I think that you just pointed out is that, and I think that just sometimes we're, society, especially in the United States, we're kind of caught up in the fact that there is enough room where we have actually, we're fortunate enough to be in a country where we can, you don't have to be in competition, where you can create something else that, people, there's enough desire for us to create, and if you create something and nobody buys it, then you move on, right?
Yes, I'm glad you said that. That's the thing, if this business doesn't work out for me, it's not going to stop me. You move on and you get innovative and creative.
So with that, I love your attitude. What's success to you? What's life success to you? What's business success to you?
Being able to just pick up and go wherever I want. Like, and that doesn't mean, go to Dubai and ride in cars with tigers, or it means literally go and you want to go on a spiritual retreat and do yoga in the jungle of Bali. Let's go. And if I can take those experiences and that information, put it online, bring it back to the United States, bring it back to family, friends, that'll start to shape lives. So if I can bring back all these different positive experiences from around the world or within my own community, I think one by one, people will start to get affected in a positive way and start making changes within themselves, which will ultimately create change around us. So that's kind of my goal. Like, I don't really have a specific location that I want to live. I'm thinking about buying a van, kind of just living out of that for a year, you know.
No, quick question. This is kind of in jest too a little bit. Do you still say, ooh, what is the Marine Corps thing that they do, the hoo-ha?
Hoorah, yeah.
Yeah. Because it sounds like, it's awesome to be able to see all of what we like, all these different things that we have inside of us, and this journey has taken you from, that athlete to the military to what you're doing now, and really at the core of what I'm hearing from you is that you're kind of living that moniker that you are the change, that you want to see in the world, and you're figuring out ways to do that to affect other people in a positive way, and that's awesome, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to do. That's pretty much it.
That's a good place to be, man.
Yeah, you know what? It's not bad. It feels pretty good. And
so kind of in wrapping up, tell people what's available for the bars, when's the protein powder going to come out, and where are you going to be next festival wise? Anything lined up? So it's time to start plugging.
Yeah, we okay. So like I said, planetprotein.com. Peanut butter cup, cherry almond fudge. Those are our 2 SKUs. They're both available on the website. The protein powder. So we've been in the lab the last probably about 2 months, and we're really hoping to get it out here soon. I'm shooting for January. Don't kill me if it's not January, but we'll make some announcements on Instagram, which is planet_protein. So we'll definitely keep you up to date. I'm really excited for that because I'm a really picky person when it comes to powder, and if the flavor profile isn't there, then it's really kind of hard to gag down with just water. So that's going to be really exciting for us. And then moving forward, we're just plugging away, man. Like I said, a little bit about our athletes. We have Wilson Chandler, who's a pro basketball player in the NBA for the Denver Nuggets, and I think he's on in about an hour and a half, TNT. And then Devin Fuller plays for the Atlanta Falcons. He's a wide receiver. So that's pretty cool to have 2 of those guys that are high-end athletes consuming your products, and then have your full support. But we're going to just use them, our ambassadors. We have some really cool ambassadors, just to help spread the word and get it out there. So we're excited about it.
And you're going to be showing up at any festivals, anything on the horizon where people might find you?
Our next festival is Fort Lauderdale Veg Fest, December 2nd.
Okay.
And that one last year was about 10,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah, it's these are awesome events, man. And there's new Veg Fest popping up everywhere. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah, and what's interesting is I think when we talked a little bit about it, there's like pockets of, I'm living now in Portland, which has a big vegan scene or vegan population. In Florida, I've noticed just through the, relationships there, it seems like there's a lot of vegans in Florida. Of course, LA. It was surprising though. I think you mentioned, didn't you say Detroit?
Yeah, Detroit's pretty big for veganism, and I had no idea. So there's one spot there called, I think it's called Detroit Soul, and it's just all soul food, 100% vegan restaurant. I still have yet to try it, but I've heard really good things about that place. So it's popping up everywhere, man. There's vegan restaurants everywhere now. So there's really no excuses anymore, are there?
So here's the speed round. Here's some questions, and you pick some numbers. And I do want to ask you, any shout outs to vegan heroes, vegan friends. Start with that.
Yeah, Badass Vegan. Inspiration to me from day one. He keeps it real, and that's one thing I really respect is if you don't keep it real, then as soon as you start lying and slipping up, then you lose all credibility. And what does that mean in life? We live one time, so let's keep it real. And then Carly Bergman, I'm going to shout her out as well because, first of all, she gives me acai bowls every morning that just boosts my mental to like the highest capacity it's ever seen. And she has my support, man. Like it's tough. It's tough to really support someone that's always on the go, constantly like on their phone and busy and just kind of like sidetracked and has a million things going on. Sometimes I catch myself not listening, properly. And but it takes a strong person to be by my side.
That's awesome, man. And favorite vegan restaurant?
Favorite vegan restaurant? Oh, man. Shit. There's a raw joint in Chicago. It was Karen's Raw. So she had it open for over 20 years, I believe. They shut down recently, but that was my all-time favorite restaurant. Like, that was some of the best raw food I've ever. She had a cooked menu as well, but that was some of the best raw food I've ever had in my life.
And are you supporting? Do you want to give any shout outs to any sanctuaries or anything in your area, nonprofits that you want people to know about?
Yeah. Okay. So there's one in Michigan. It's called Barn Sanctuary, and Dan McKernan is a real good dude. He's doing an awesome job there. And then my friend Jordan David, which is a Conscious Muscle on Instagram, and he's running his sanctuary out in West Palm. So we're gonna check that out Saturday, and that'd be pretty cool. I think I have. There's one more. Surfing. Yeah. How could I forget? I'm super blind, by the way. So like, I like to see about 5 feet. These are coming on. Surf and Turf Sanctuary out of Colorado. Trey and Jen are some good friends of mine, and their story's crazy. You would love it. Check them out on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check them out. I haven't. That's the first time they've come up. So
Surf and Turf Sanctuary. Their story is really cool, man. They went from butchering cows to saving them. Like,
wow.
Very quick transition, and now they are. I think they're full-on nonprofit now, and awesome. They're full-on sanctuary, and they're doing really cool stuff.
I love seeing Dan too at Barn with his pigs and everything. He's starting to blow up with all his publicity too, which is awesome.
Yeah, he's doing a good job, man. I started talking to him early on in my vegan transition, and I just spoke to him about 2 weeks ago, and it seems like every day he's getting a new animal, so it's pretty cool to see.
Okay, so this will just be lightning round. If you were president and can enact any law right now, what would it be?
No, oh man, no more taxes. Let's figure out something because it's just going to the wrong spot.
Yeah, and any plaguing secrets you want to share? Do you have a plaguing secret, or is there something that somebody would be surprised to know about you?
Follow my Instagram, and I'll announce that pretty soon.
Awesome.
Let me think about that one.
And then last but not least, I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but what's the most important invention ever?
Well, in this day and age, and what we do with veganism, it's definitely the internet.
Awesome.
The internet. I mean, social media has really taken this movement by storm, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, and it's connected so many people, and I'm going to end on that, man. It's amazing that, I decided to go from written to live, and it's just I feel such a blessing and an energy when I'm actually able to meet with the inspirational souls. Some of them I've already featured, some of them I haven't. I think I've had you on there multiple times, and happy, thank you for your service as a veteran. I think I had you on a Veterans Day special, which is
soldiers. Yeah,
year ago tomorrow, So you're awesome. I love watching. I know your lady's doing some things too with the sustainability. I know she was doing a 30-day thing, and it's you guys are an awesome couple. And do you have anything else you want to put out there before we wrap up, man?
No, man. If you haven't already, follow Inspirational Souls and just give back the love, man. And honestly, if you're gonna take away anything from this video, it's to just look in the mirror. Figure out, hey, I need to make changes. Make the changes, starting on your plate. Implement them in your life, and then just have fun with it, man, because we live once.
That's beautiful, man. All right, man. Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And I look forward to meeting you in person sometime when you get out here, man. We have a lot of, or helping you out if, we can talk about that again. So.
Yeah. Portland, it's on our top of our list. I mean, it's vegan Mecca. I know. I'm pretty jealous that you're out there. So
right on. Well, we have extra room if you ever get out here, man.
You're perfect. I appreciate it. Yeah, we'll be out there soon.
All right. Have a good night, man.
All right. Thanks. Take care. Nice talking with you.
Yeah, you too. And that's a wrap, folks. Thank you. That was episode 7 with Brenden Fitzgerald, the CEO of Planet Protein. Check him out at www.planetprotein.com. He's also on Instagram at planet_protein, and his personal, he is the sustainable CEO. A lot of awesome tips today, and you'll catch this interview and other Inspirational Soul live spotlights on www.inspirationalsouls.com. We're on Inspirational Souls _ on Instagram. We're on Twitter. Just search for us there. And yeah, we look forward to bringing you another Inspirational Souls live Sunday night. So tune in then. Have a good night.